What's up guys, Shane Stars with Droid Planter X. I'm pretty excited to bring you guys a review video on the 3D Robotics Iris Plus drone. This is more of a premium or advanced drone. It's not as much of an entry-level drone as the DJI Phantom Plus. It has some awesome features which I'm going to demo for you guys. The follow me mode allows you to set up the drone to fly itself with an included telemetry antenna, which is pretty awesome. Basically you just set the drone to the altitude that you like and tell it to follow you, and it follows you, which is pretty amazing. If you're riding a bike, paddling down a river, it's pretty cool that you don't have to actually control the drone. It pretty much controls itself and just follows you. And the thing that's extra special about that is the camera actually stays focused on you, which is pretty cool. It also has an autonomous mode. We'll talk about that a little later. But let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the radio, and I'm just going to do this real briefly because I'm not incredibly familiar with this. It's much more advanced than the radio that came with the DJI Phantom drone that I reviewed a little while back. But basically you have your throttle stick that allows it to go that allows you to go up and down and side to side, and then you have the rotation stick over here that allows the drone to rotate on its axis. There you've got your on-off switch here. There is a mode toggle there, and you have an adjustment for your camera here that allows the camera to tilt up and down. Other than that, there's a lot of extra stuff on here that I'm not totally familiar with, but you guys can see just how high quality this radio is. It has an LCD screen here which gives you information on the drone itself as it's flying. It allows you to see how high in the air it is or how far away it is from you, and gives you all of those statistics right there on your screen. It gives you statistics about your battery life on the drone as well there, which is pretty awesome. So now we'll just go ahead and start up the drone and get a quick demo in. Okay, so to get the drone up and running, the first thing we're going to do is turn on our radio, but you want to make sure that this is in standard or loiter mode, so STD or LTR, and then you want to make sure that the setting here, RTL, is turned to off. So when we make sure that those settings are there, we want to make sure that both of these sticks are at center. We'll go ahead and turn that on. And as soon as that's booted up, we'll go power up the drone. All right, so on the drone itself, what we want to do here is go ahead and plug the yellow cable from the battery into the yellow plug on the drone itself. Be sure when you're closing the door to avoid this little wire here. This is for the gimbal, and it can interfere with the battery wire to where it doesn't get a GPS lock, I guess. Basically, I had that issue where I could not get a GPS lock, and it seemed like this was just kind of in the way with that. I'm not sure how that affects it, but it seemed like it did. So we'll go ahead and plug this up. And if you're going to be using your gimbal, go ahead and make sure you plug your gimbal up too. Those can only go one way, so don't worry about getting that wrong. And then we'll just kind of scoot it all out of the way and close the door here. Just being sure that the wiring doesn't interfere with that gimbal wire there. Okay, and then to arm the motors, we're going to go ahead and press this red button until you hear it beep. And now we're just going to sit and wait for a green light here saying that we have a GPS lock. This actually will not fly without a GPS lock, so we'll just kind of sit here and wait for that to turn on. You guys can see that my gimbal is ready to go here. This is the 2-axis gimbal here. It's just going to make for a really nice, even, clean shot. Now, while we're waiting on that GPS lock, I can go ahead and set up my gimbal with my radio here. We'll use this knob here to tilt the gimbal. And you can do that in flight, which is really cool, to achieve the best shot possible. Okay, so we're still waiting on our GPS to lock. Okay, so we had to kind of move this to a different location in the yard to get a GPS lock. The trees in the backyard were kind of blocking the GPS signal. And then another thing that I noticed is if I just kept the battery door down, it seemed to get a GPS lock better. I don't know if that's all in my head or if it has to do with that wire getting in the way or causing some kind of interference there. But once I had the green light for GPS lock, I went on ahead and closed the battery door, and we are ready to fly. So we'll go ahead and move this back to the backyard, and we will get started with our demo. So one of the things that I liked about the DJI Phantom Vision 2 Plus is that it had the camera attached to the actual drone. So you could actually control the camera from an app on your phone, which was pretty neat. But what it didn't allow you to do is use whatever camera you want. So here I actually have a GoPro 4 Black Edition camera. And that's top of the line. Is a whole lot better than the camera that's on the DJI Phantom Vision Plus 2. And the only thing is you just got to remember to turn it on. So we'll go ahead and turn it on before we get started. And we'll go ahead and set it to record. Okay, so now we've got our camera recording. We've got our GPS lock, and our motor is ready to go. So then on the joystick itself, we're just going to go down and to the left on our throttle here, and that's going to arm the motors. Okay, so now we're ready to fly. So we'll just go ahead and set the throttle up. And now we're flying. So when you first fly this, you'll probably want to just do some very soft movements with the controller. It's really easy to get out of hand with this, and it actually seems like this controller is a whole lot more sensitive than on the DJI Phantom Vision Plus. So just a little bit of movement on the controller goes a long way here. They do suggest that you don't fly this thing with the gimbal and legs for the first couple of flights, but really it was intuitive enough, and I've flown drones enough to be able to use it. So if you've ever flown a drone, you're probably fine going ahead and installing your gimbal right away. But as you guys can see, just very easily touching this controller here makes the drone fly really easily. Now in the manual, it says that you're able to go up about 300 feet in the air, and you're able to go away from you about 1,000 feet. The radios are probably much more powerful than that, but just as a safety precaution, they want you to stay 300 feet or lower and 1,000 feet or nearer to you. Okay, so with the included telemetry radio antenna and the Droid Planter app, which you can get on the Play Store, I'll be sure to include a link in the description, you're actually able to control different things on your drone from this application. So what you have here is you have the ability to set missions. So you can actually, if we go in here and we go to editor, you can actually make a mission. So you can make little points on the screen here and tell it to follow those points. You can actually click go, and it'll actually fly itself throughout that mission and then land itself when it's finished. So that's really cool if you're trying to get that perfect shot and you don't want to have to control the camera yourself. So you can get kind of a jittery motion out of the camera whenever you are the one controlling it. But this makes sure that it's a nice, smooth, and perfect camera shot. So we're not really going to focus on this. I'm not going to do the autonomous mission because we have so many trees around here and I'm not comfortable with that here. But we will do the follow me mode. So basically what we'll want to do here is we will, with our radio, we'll turn it on, and then we'll just, the follow me button will appear here, and we'll just press that and it'll follow us. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so with the radio, we'll just go ahead and arm our propellers. We'll go ahead and put it at the altitude where we want it, and then we'll just press the follow me button on the device itself. There's also a takeoff button, so you can press that from your phone if you'd like. So we'll just go ahead and take off from the radio. Get it at the altitude that we want, and press follow. So when we're finished with our mission, we can actually just press the land button and it'll come back and land on its own. Okay, when we're done there, we'll pick up our radio and disarm the motors. And I'm not sure if you guys could tell, but as I was flying, it actually controlled the camera for me and just kept it focused on me, which is pretty cool. We don't actually have to tilt the camera ourselves. It does it for us, keeps us in focus the whole time, which I thought was pretty awesome. Alright guys, so pros and cons of this drone here. It seems to feel a little more advanced than, say, a DJI Phantom drone. But once you really start to play around with it and you get used to it, it is just as easy to fly as any other drone on the market, if not easier, once you have it calibrated correctly and all. And then just the added features of the follow me and autonomous missions really make this drone stand out above the rest in my opinion. As far as the build quality, you can tell there's a lot of plastic here, and it feels a little lighter than other drones. But most drones are made out of plastic anyways. When all is said and done, I still think that this is built pretty well. With this drone, you do have the ability to really make it your own. You can have the gimbal here, you don't have to. And 3D Robotics actually sells a ton of accessories for the drone that can be added later on. So you can really just kind of make it the drone that you really need. So anyways guys, that about wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to click the like button, subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmoderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmoderx. Thanks guys for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.